Jacob participate. She highlighted the extreme danger they had all faced. Ricky felt a profound sense of sorrow and frustration. He explained that he was so very close to achieving his dream of early retirement and financial peace. He expressed a deep desire to find the individuals who had stolen his hard work. Sarah sternly told him to abandon that foolish quest. She insisted that the past was gone and he needed to leave the situation alone. She expressed her disappointment, realizing that the grand announcement he had planned for the evening was likely connected to this failed and misguided venture. Ricky quickly denied her assumption. He insisted that the grand announcement he had planned was something entirely different and much more positive. He claimed it was far more significant than a simple business transaction. Sarah remained highly skeptical, but Ricky stood his ground. He confirmed to Bubbles that he still required the massive order of beverages for the gathering. He promised everyone that his upcoming announcement would be a truly monumental event. He assured them it would be a major surprise that would bring joy to everyone. Despite his confident words, his family and friends remained doubtful. In a different part of the city, the former park supervisor Mr. Leahy and his loyal companion Randy were finally being released from the local detention center. They had spent a significant amount of time in confinement and were eager to start their lives fresh. Randy expressed his deep hatred for the terrible environment of the facility. He acknowledged that they were leaving with absolutely no material possessions and would have to rebuild their lives from the very beginning. However, he found comfort in the fact that they were finally free and still had each other. Mr. Leahy agreed wholeheartedly. He reflected on how their time in confinement had brought them closer together than ever before. He felt their bond was stronger than iron. Their peaceful moment was interrupted by the arrival of Officer Ted, a man known for his questionable ethics. Officer Ted informed the two men that they were now free, but he had heard rumors they might try to cause trouble for him. Mr. Leahy cryptically replied that the truth would eventually set them free. Officer Ted scoffed at the notion and offered them a substantial financial proposition. He presented them with $50,000 in cash. He explained that this was a settlement to ensure their absolute silence regarding a recent incident. A sum of $400,000 had been confiscated during a prior investigation and was supposed to be submitted to the legal authorities. Officer Ted explained that he felt the funds would be wasted sitting in an evidence room forever. He boldly admitted that he had diverted the money to purchase new computers, forensic equipment, and a new patrol vehicle for his police station. He made it perfectly clear that the $50,000 was meant to buy their silence. He threatened to fabricate new criminal charges and send them back to the detention center if they ever spoke a word about the missing funds. Mr. Leahy and Randy quickly agreed to the terms, realizing they had no other viable option. They accepted the money and promised to keep the secret forever. Back at the community, Ricky was proudly showing off his newly constructed living quarters to Corey and Jacob. He had ingeniously built a wooden deck and a complete living space on top of a large vehicle. He gave them a grand tour of the impressive structure. He showed off the kitchen area, his personal sleeping quarters, and a television set he had installed. He even pointed out a special area he had designed specifically for his young grandson to use during sleepovers. Ricky then led them up to the second level, which featured a spacious outdoor patio. The patio was furnished with comfortable reclining chairs, a music player, and a beautifully crafted lamp that Ricky had made himself. He even included a small seating area for Jacob. He explained the clever plumbing system he had devised for the upper level, which drained directly into the lower bathroom. Corey and Jacob were thoroughly impressed by the incredible craftsmanship and creativity. They praised the design and told Ricky it was a truly magnificent home. Ricky appreciated their compliments, but his mind was troubled by a more pressing issue. He confided in his friends that his grand announcement needed to be something truly spectacular, or he would appear to be a complete fool in front of the entire community. He asked for their creative ideas. Corey suggested a ridiculous plan of faking his own passing, but Ricky quickly dismissed the idea as entirely illogical. Jacob then proposed that Ricky could announce a campaign to become the political leader of the entire country. Ricky found this idea equally absurd and unhelpful. He expressed his frustration with their lack of sensible suggestions. He pleaded with them to think of something grand and impressive. He suggested arriving at the gathering in a massive construction vehicle. He then considered the idea of presenting a large exotic animal like a rare feline from the snowy mountains. He quickly realized that acquiring such an animal locally would be impossible. He urged them to think of a large impressive animal that could be found on a nearby farm. Jacob completely misunderstood the clues and suggested a small insect with 8 legs. Ricky clarified that he needed something much larger with 4 legs that consumed grass. Finally, the idea dawned on them. A horse would be the perfect grand gesture. Ricky was thrilled with the concept. He felt it was a beautiful and majestic idea. Corey then elevated the plan by suggesting Ricky present the horse as a gift to his girlfriend Susan to accompany a proposal of marriage. Ricky was hesitant at first, noting that he was not currently engaged to Susan. Corey argued that the sheer magnitude of the gift would make the proposal irresistible. He even suggested adding a decorative horn to the horse to make it appear mythological. Ricky rejected the horn idea as foolish but embraced the concept of the engagement horse. He believed this monumental romantic gesture would change his life forever. Meanwhile, Randy and Mr. Leahy were discussing their newfound wealth. Mr. Leahy warned Randy that their troubles were not entirely over. He reminded him that Julian was still very angry with them and might seek revenge when they returned to the neighborhood. Randy proposed a brilliant solution. He suggested they use a portion of their settlement money to repay Julian and make amends. He reasoned that offering Julian $25,000 would wipe the slate clean and restore peace to their lives. He pointed out that it was technically the fault of Julian that they had faced so many difficulties. Mr. Leahy agreed with the logic and felt that half the money was a fair price to pay for tranquility. They made a solemn vow to never reveal the true source of the funds to anyone. However, as they walked through the community, Mr. Leahy experienced a sudden change of heart. He convinced Randy that they could multiply their money by visiting the local equestrian racing track. He believed his intuition would guide them to massive financial success. They decided to abandon the plan to repay Julian and instead seek their fortune at the races. Bubbles was busy fulfilling his duties as a beverage entrepreneur. He was driving a small customized cart equipped with a speaker playing cheerful music. He was delighted with his sales progress and felt optimistic about the future. He encountered Donnie, a local resident known for his intense anger issues. Donnie was furious about a recent incident involving gravel that had caused minor damage. Bubbles remained calm and professional. He offered Donnie a complimentary case of his beverage to soothe his temper. He politely asked Donnie to relax and invited him to the upcoming gathering hosted by Ricky. Donnie continued to shout and express his immense frustration, but Bubbles simply smiled and drove away. He marveled at how exhausting it must be for Donnie to live with such constant intense anger. Later that afternoon, Randy and Mr. Leahy attempted to approach Julian to discuss their past grievances. Julian was immediately hostile and demanded that they leave him alone. He blamed them entirely for ruining his life and causing him immense financial hardship. Randy and Mr. Leahy tried to explain their remorse and offered to take full responsibility for the past events. They hinted that they had a generous financial offer to present. Julian refused to listen to their apologies. He declared that he would dictate the terms of their punishment. He demanded that they surrender half of their daily wages to him for the rest of their natural lives as compensation for the $400,000 they had allegedly cost him. He threatened them with severe consequences if they did not comply. Randy and Mr. Leahy were shocked by the extreme demands but realized they had little choice but to agree in the moment. The evening of the grand gathering finally arrived. The atmosphere was festive and filled with anticipation. Music played loudly and the residents of the community gathered together in a joyous spirit. Ricky took the center stage and welcomed everyone to the momentous occasion. He expressed his gratitude for their attendance and announced that he had a major surprise to share. He signaled to Corey and Jacob, who proudly led a massive, beautiful horse into the center of the crowd. The attendees were completely bewildered by the sight. Bubbles and Julian watched in absolute shock and disbelief. Bubbles questioned the sanity of the entire situation. He asked Ricky